After 14 years, I found out what my parents did to my biological parents. Excuse me, what? Hello, we got a My Story animated video today. A very juicy story. So guys, I hope you're doing great, okay? And I hope you checked out the video that I did yesterday. Testing out the water MONOFIN, if it's waterproof and salt proof. So I'll just link it up in the bio. Yeah, get into the video right now.
My name is Nellie, and last month, something absolutely insane happened to me. To say my life has changed completely would be an understatement. I don't even know how to put into words what has happened. But I'm going to try because this is a story I just really need to share. Honestly, we never know what—
Why are you sharing the story? Why do you need to share the story?
I need to share it. Okay, people need to know my information.
Get your act together.
know what surprises life is hiding for us just around the corner. I was just enjoying a normal teenage life until one crazy day. So, I'm an only child in your standard middle-class family. I guess I never really felt like I fully fitted in at home or at school, and maybe I'm a bit odd. But it's not because of my parents. I mean, they—
What do you mean never fit it in school? Like, everybody is unique in their own special way. So you don't come and tell me that you are odd, because I am odd, because we all do stuff different to the next person. We are not like exactly like identical, or how I can say, like, this part of me, the brilliant child, and I might be the dumbest, most weirdest, most cringiest child, most YouTubest child in the world. You understand me? So don't classify you as an outcast. Like, that's just one point. I'm just saying that.
They absolutely adored me, and I've always been quite spoiled. But, oh yeah, I should probably add, I'm adopted. It's something I'm totally fine with, so no one needs to feel sorry for me. My parents died not long after I was born, in a car crash. I've always been curious to find more info about them, but my adopted parents didn't really know much about what happened. There is one thing, though.
Your adopted parents didn't know?
I'm sure they don't.
Not many people actually know I was adopted because I look pretty similar to my adopted parents. Which suits me fine, actually. It's always made things easy. The only thing is that they're a bit older. Recently, I got into martial arts. I've always had obscure, random hobbies, and my parents have always encouraged me. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, after school, I walk to my martial arts class. I love it.
Sorry. I don't know, but it's my voice. I just like to point out, happy birthday, happy birthday. But let me talk to you about my martial arts. I don't go to martial arts, but I saw it. Like, I watch on TV, like, people going, yeah. Like, I love, my favorite game is Mortal Kombat on Xbox, which I actually love, and my favorite character is Kitana with the blades. I actually got me a fan. I don't know if you should comment down below if you should do making real Kitana blades right now. Go comment. But go comment down below if you want that. So I've been learning a lot of martial arts. Now I was going, like, when I'm doing, if I have free time, then I go like, yeah.
I explain, but it makes me feel so free and powerful. It also makes me forget about all those awkward teenage things. Like why I don't have that many friends, and why I've never had a boyfriend. During one of my classes, I went out to get some water from the vending machine and noticed an older guy hovering around. I made eye contact with him, but he quickly looked away. Then I forgot about him. That's what martial arts does to me. It helps me live in the moment. The next time I had class, it was pouring rain, and of course, I'd forgotten my umbrella. I was running along the sidewalk when a car pulled up in front of me and rolled the window down. I recognized the driver, but couldn't place him. He offered me a lift home, but I knew better than to accept a lift from a complete stranger. But he seemed like a nice person, and I was sopping wet, so after much hesitation—
What a dumb child right here. Dumb!
I accepted. I was sitting in the back, and he was looking at me in the rear view mirror. He laughed and told me not to worry, that he wasn't a serial killer. But what if he was? His eyes were honestly so familiar. He dropped me safely at home and asked if I'd mind taking the box on the seat next to me. It needed to be—
I know where's this guy, and this is her real parents.
I didn't want him to suddenly turn angry on me, so I did it. I said bye and ran inside to dry off. My parents were still at work, so I had the house to myself. I decided to double-check the box before recycling it. It wasn't empty. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Inside were hundreds of newspaper article cutouts, old photos, and some official-looking documents that were yellowed from age. They were all of me. Me as a baby, me as a toddler. And then I spotted something else. A photo of me with a man and a woman. And I kid you not, this woman looks exactly like me. It was almost like looking in the mirror. This had to be my birth parents. But who was the man who had given me this box? And why? I was so overwhelmed, I just sat there staring. None of the articles mentioned a car crash. They didn't mention death at all. Were my parents still alive? Then why had I been adopted? I read on, and it quickly became very clear that there was more to the story than my adopted parents had ever let on. As I read on, I discovered that my parents had been teenagers when they'd fallen pregnant with me. And coming from a traditional conservative background, they'd been forbidden to keep me. My mom was only 14 when she had me, and my dad was 16. I couldn't believe it. I was 14 now. That means my...
Okay, teenagers. Oh guys, I'm back and it's steaming hot. Y'all see the switch open?
As I read on, I discovered that my parents had been teenagers when they'd fallen pregnant with me. And coming from a traditional conservative background, they'd been forbidden to keep me. My mom was only 14 when she had me, and my dad was 16. I couldn't believe it. I was 14 now. That means my mom had me when she was my age. This was too mental. Something weird happened next. I noticed that my surname was the same as my birth parents. But then why was it also the same as my adopted parents? We all had the same surname. Was that just some kind of bizarre coincidence?
Maybe it's a coincidence. I think not.
I felt sick. Underneath the photos, I found a dusty article, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was a photo of my birth parents and my adopted parents together in exactly the same photo. Then it clicked. My adopted parents were actually my grandparents. But that meant no. I couldn't even think this next thought. My adopted parents, who were actually my grandparents, were horrible, cruel people. How could they have done this and just hidden it from me? The article said that they'd been so embarrassed that their daughter had fallen pregnant as a teenager that they'd sent her away to a boarding school and told her to never come home again unless she fixed her ways. This had all been in the newspaper. But I didn't even know my adopted parents had even had a kid before. I mean, now that I thought about it, it made sense that they seemed particularly good at raising a child. After all, they'd done it before. Suddenly, I wondered who my dad was. Did that mean he was still alive too? As I sat thinking about how I might actually be able to meet my real parents, my adopted parents came through the door. They could tell straight away that something was up, and before I even had the chance to speak, my dad grabbed the box out of my hands and ran out of the house with it.
Just saying, I'm going to take a part to this, so let's just end it right here. So basically, I think this is basically part one, so we basically got that finished. So the papers, we're gonna continue that in the next upload. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to on the right of it, guys. I love you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye guys. Check out the content in the description, guys. I love you guys. Bye guys.